Welcome to another episode of The Read Pile. I am slightly under the weather today, so please ignore the sound of my voice. I'm feeling better than I sound. The British Paranormal Society is a new collection. This was a miniseries. It's now collected in hardcover, and it fits into the world of Hellboy. The last time I think we saw these characters was last year in the Silver Lantern Club. This is Simon Bruttenholm and Sarah Grant. No. And Nora Grant. There's a reference to Sarah Vowell, who has her own miniseries, which I think I skipped. And it sounds like something bad happened to Sarah, so I'm going to have to go back and get that. And I also I realized, the return of Effie Kolb, so I need to get that one too. So I'm missing some of the... I don't know. I lump this into BPRD more so than Hellboy, but it is very much its own growing thing. So, in the Silver Lantern Club, I remember having some trouble pinning down what year it was. And this spanned years. This, helpfully, has a text box right in the beginning that says, if it will open, 1910. And here his hair is starting to lose its color. Here, I think it was mostly the 19th century. I don't think it had gotten to the 20th, but again, it was hard to pin down years, and a couple of years do get referenced, but all that tells me is that things happened after that time, so I don't know. This, squarely 1910, and I'm thankful for at least having a date. It's hard. Am I the only one that wants to, not necessarily put these things into a chronological order, but just sort of keep track of people and places and events? I mean, maybe it is a bit of a chronological event desire, but yeah, text boxes with years. I like them. So in this, we get a small town mystery. The two of them wind up going to a small town on different errands, but Simon here is looking for a friend of his, and Honora is there because there's some weird cultural, historical event that is happening, and she's looking for additional information on that. Both of them wind up investigating separately, which I don't think is always smart, especially if there's a missing person. You don't want necessarily to wind up with two missing people. But small town mystery, and it is great, and there's a big surprise with where this winds up, connecting to an early Hellboy story, which blew my mind at the time. It is quite good. It's highly recommended, and I'm flipping through this, at least the first issue here. There's a weird theme with mushrooms, and I don't think it pays off, but mushrooms do crop up a few times within this, and yeah, it's just a very straightforward recommendation from me. Again, I don't know how much I need to sell Hellboy. Look, so there's mushrooms on gravestones. Again, it's weird, and I don't think it leads to anything. It's just a weird thing, but it's great, and so far this video hasn't even hit 5 minutes yet, but I don't want to talk about it too much. It's fantastic, and as I said, I don't think I need to sell Hellboy to anyone. I think by now you should know whether or not you're into Hellboy, and if somehow you haven't tried Hellboy, then I highly recommend it. But this world that has been built up over decades, I find fascinating, and I want more. I watch more on a regular basis, and there are a couple of miniseries that should be ending soon and getting collections, and then I will have more. But this British Paranormal Society, the late 19th, early 20th century, I'm loving what they're doing as far as Sarah Vowell and Simon Bruttenholm and the whole Sir Edward Grey, like that whole crew. I just find fascinating, and it makes for some really great adventures. So, if you somehow have not tried a Hellboy book, then try Hellboy, and then once you're hooked, because I'm sure you will be, then there is a wealth of material to follow on after that. And I did encounter, so there's Wilson. Wilson actually read Hellboy but didn't read BPRD, and Berg and my minds were blown at that. I'm like, how could you? That's where his story continues. It's like, you have to read BPRD as well, and somehow he didn't. So I guess there are people out there, like Wilson, that I guess stepped foot into the world and didn't go all the way. But highest possible recommendation for all of this. This is a great standalone miniseries. If you are somehow just buying this exclusively, but absolutely recommended. I loved it.